It's like, I know what you're doing. You can't just warn me a week ahead of time. Hey, one day I'm going to do this.
Let's do. What do you mean? What do you mean? Come on. Where are you? First of all,
I'm at my dad's house.
Okay. Does that closet have a door or something?
I think so. You know what? Dang it.
Are you still prepping the show?
Yeah, all the graphics I put up are in Film Threat instead of Hollywood on the Rocks. Let me move them over.
Okay, we're gonna do a proper introduction. Before we do that, we're gonna restart the show. Don't go anywhere.
No.
We're not gonna restart the show. I'm gonna read a couple things, and then we're gonna actually do a beginning of the show like we normally do. Dr. Gonzo, I need to thank you. Dr. Gonzo says, Sabine says, I feel like nothing. Exactly what the series was. Can't wait for Loki. We're going to talk about the first 4 episodes of Loki and the Ahsoka season finale. But Dr. Gonzo sent me an amazing card and letter. It's a birthday greetings for me, which it says, Chris is wonderful as you. Happy belated birthday. Goes on to write a very personal note. Thank you, Dr. Gonzo. And Dr. Gonzo sent an incredible gift I have to share. This standard def DVD of The Family Band. I love old school Disney. And maybe he's saying something. Maybe Dr. Gonzo is saying something to me. He sent me some soap. I don't know if that means I stink or my reviews stink, but he sent this amazing box of Dr. Squatch Marvel soaps. Let's see if I can open it here. Look at this. Check this out. Thor, Hulk, Captain America, Iron Man. Who will I smell like today? I don't know, but Dr. Gonzo, this is incredibly generous. Really, thank you so much. I owe you, sir. So thank you, Dr. Gonzo. We will discuss Sabine and Ahsoka in a moment. I also want to say I was at Halloween 45 this weekend. Fantastic con, all about the Halloween franchise. People there from so many different incarnations of Halloween, including John Carpenter was there. He did the final panel on Sunday afternoon. It was fantastic. So good. PJ Souls was even on that panel. Go to my personal Instagram at that Chris Gore. I shared some pictures, but also I picked up this book by Owner Tuchel and David Gordon Green. It is a children's retelling of the story of the first Halloween movie, but it's done like as a child's book, which is great. This is to me better than a movie novelization. So it's some clever illustrations. You've got Michael Myers, and it's done in a children's book style, not for kids. But I got one, and I got it signed by both David Gordon Green and there it is. Look at that. So that way, I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, so I had a fantastic weekend, but we are getting busy, Alan. We are getting busy. Award This is coming up. This is my announcement. We'll start promoting it next week. Award This. Put this on your calendar. This is save the date. Sunday, December 10th is Award This. It is the only award show you can buy a ticket to. Step and repeat. There'll be like photographers, step and repeat. There's a pre-party, pre-cocktail party. The show itself, we're going to have a headliner comedian that's going to be hosting the show, indie filmmakers. Also, if you're in the main room, you get a gift bag. We've got VIP seats. It's going to be fantastic. Do not miss it. Award This. Tickets will go on sale next week. I will make an announcement. Go to awardthis.com. If you're an indie filmmaker, it's the biggest night of the year for independent film. We've got VIP tickets to the show. Then we have an overflow room so you can be a part of the party, but you won't be in the main room. It's going to be a blast. Alan, will you be giving away an award at that show?
Most likely.
You're going to. All right, a few more comments before we actually kick off the show. Because I was watching actually Az and Eric July just talk comic books. 2 guys talking comic books. Nerd conversation. Lord Thoth is here. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, sign up as a member, and join us on Discord. Also, if you go to the community tab on the Film Threat YouTube channel, we regularly give away digital codes for movies. And there's a giveaway that's ongoing that not as many people are taking advantage of that I thought would, but we do giveaways for our members. I like to receive things for free. I also like to give things away for free because I love our supporters. Galaxy Aaron, aka Anka Apo, in the tradition of the infamous IKEA chair moments, this episode has so many stormtroopers standing still, waiting for their turn to get hit and fall off, just like any 80s ninja B movie. Yeah. Mike MC Wong, first Saturday of the month, again, this coming Saturday, another movie pool party. I may or may not be there, unfortunately, because I am going to be at Oktoberfest. I'm probably going to go, Mike. Who am I kidding? I'll be there. Saturday movie pool party. Alan, you are invited.
What
Hoping
movie
Chris,
is
we're going to just a bunch of movies. We usually play like 4 or 5 movies. They're all like 90 minutes. We try to play shorter films, so we can play a lot. But yeah, it's a barbecue at Mike MC Wong's place. Hoping Chris the Gore Man will show up so we can finally do Psycho Gore Man. Hell yeah. Daniel Little actually liked the orange shirt on Chris. Yes, this is part of our Halloween collection. If you go to shop.filmthreat.com, we are doing a Halloween collection. It is Halloween themed merch. So there you go. On the front page of Film Threat right now, shop.filmthreat.com. Check it out. You can get the orange shirt. You can get Film Threat the 13th. We've also added a ton of new shirt designs. Check that out. Attack of the Dock, the second run of Blu-rays, is currently on pre-order, and you can get our classic designs inspired by some of your favorite movies. That might be Back to the Future. That might be Film Threat. That might be Tron. That might be Alien. I don't know. Who can say for sure? Alan might be wearing one inspired by Dune.
Yes. The lawyers will never know.
The lawyers will never know, but go to shop.filmthreat.com. You can, I'm full on. My place is all decorated. Did I post some yet? I don't know. On my social media, I have to post some of those. So, but we need to get started. We need to get things kicked off here. So a few more comments here before we launch right in. Let's see. Yes, thank you for that. But Bethel Games, have you invited Carpenter to come on here? I have not. I don't know that I've had an opportunity. We have had some interactions recently with some big guests that I hope will be coming on the show in the near future. Potentially Eric Roberts. We've interviewed Eric Roberts before, actually.
Yes.
But we've never done it live. So Eric Roberts, who I love, the Russo brothers, they've got a new indie movie out. Stick with Film Threat. We got a lot. Outlet82 says, Chris, I can't believe John Woo is back. This thrills me to the bone. I thought he was done. The old John Woo days were such a thrill. I feel 20 again. Yeah, definitely feeling like the 90s. So appreciate that support. I'm trying to get John Woo on the channel. We covered him in the 90s in Film Threat, the print magazine, when he first burst onto the screen and became known to U.S. audiences. I have put in an official request to have John Woo on the show sometime in December. So we're going to be getting bigger guests, I hope, and we have a guest coming on today. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Toxic Waltz N8, day 4 of Sober October. Ahsoka ain't helping. I am also doing Sober October. I'm drinking, oddly enough, in my Fight Club mug, I'm drinking apple cider.
Hell, I'll do Sober October too.
You don't even drink, Alan.
Just makes it easier for me.
Hill CT or Hill Court says, can someone please explain to me the rate of technical advancement in the Star Wars universe? In Ahsoka, it appears we have a robot that is 2,500 years old and has only 25% new parts. What? Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Maybe Alan can woo John, says Patrick Lemire. And there you go.
Oh, yes.
Speaking of that, Alan, would you like to do a reaction video?
Sure.
No, I shouldn't do it.
No.
I shouldn't do it. This is taking things too far. I don't think I'm going to do it. I don't think I'm going to. Now that I've like had time to think about it, 7 seconds, I'm going to not do the thing that I thought I was going to do.
All right. So I need to watch something after the show today.
You need to watch something. You know what I'll do? I'll ask if you want to like, I'm going to put this link in the private chat. It's a 16-second video. I'm just going to put this link in the private chat.
Okay.
You tell me if we should, when I say we, I mean you, react to this video. I'm going to show a different video.
Okay. I'm going to mute myself. So,
all right. You know what? I'm going to start the show. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start the show because that's what we have to do. And thank you. We've got over 300 people. Please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, join us as a member, go to shop.filmthreat.com. You know all the things, all that. All right. Let's have a proper start to the show here, folks. It'll be like we started late. Here we go. Alan, you ready? Welcome, everyone. I am Chris Gore. This is Hollywood on the Rocks on a Wednesday. Joining me today on the show very soon is going to be Alan Ng. Alan Ng will be joining me. Lots to talk about today, including the season finale of Ahsoka. In addition, we're going to talk about the first 4 episodes of Loki season 2. Alan and I have both seen it. We will discuss it. Plus, Jigsaw's emails. I'm not making this up. Jigsaw's emails. We're going to read Jigsaw's emails. Why are we reading them? I will tell you the whole story. If you watched our Saw X review last week, you know what's going on. Plus, an interview with filmmaker, director Signe Baumane. She has a feature-length animated movie, independent film called My Love Affair with Marriage, hot off the festival circuit. Her movie is coming out. We are going to discuss it. Plus your chat comments and questions. I'm reorganizing all the things we're talking about, Alan, because I realized a few things. I realized a couple things. We may not be ready to talk about this, but so much to talk about. Let's get Alan here. Alan, where is he? I got to get Alan on the show. There's a button where Alan will magically appear.
It is amazing. She is the first female action hero ever in a movie.
Well, look, he's 19 years old. She's 32.
Whoa!
Still no Alan. You can read these questions if you can't see them. I don't get it.
To move objects with your hands, to get lucky, so to speak. What is the Force? We talked about.
I've just seen that thing just now.
Alan.
Hey, there we go.
You're just in the background.
Yeah, that clip you showed me. I mean, I'm fine with it because it's not going to get us in trouble. I'll get someone else in trouble, but it feels a bit long. That's my only thing.
It's 16 seconds.
I know, but it kind of goes on maybe 5 seconds too long. But that's just my technical.
So would it be better if it was 11 seconds?
Probably.
All right.
5 seconds is a long time when you're seeing the same thing over and over again.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But we have a lot to talk about. Let's actually launch right in. and talk about Ahsoka, the season finale. Let's do that first, because we've also got to talk about Loki season 2. We'll get to Loki season 2, but let's kick it off with Ahsoka. In between that, we're going to talk about someone's emails, Jigsaw's emails. So we'll get into it. Alan, oh wait, I can hear my voice being reflected. Is that you?
Yeah, let me
mute
all right,
away.
how about
Mute
now?
away. All right, Alan. I was on the Nerdrotic Nooner today. I talked about it. I want to hear your and I'll get into it. There might be some things we go over again, but what did you think of the season finale of Ahsoka? I think it's fair to say that the two of us have been a little disappointed with Ahsoka, maybe just a little disappointed. But what are your thoughts?
Yes, I could sum up Ahsoka this way: the entire series. It's 2 chess moves. It's Ahsoka and gang going to one side of the galaxy to be replaced by the people on the other side of the galaxy coming back to their side. They do a complete swap, and this whole series is about Sabine. It's not about Ahsoka. And so, look, this there are things in this series that I will call the final death knell for Lucas Star Wars. It is now officially Disney Star Wars, and Lucas Star Wars can be closed up, placed in a vault, and buried deep down, or frozen with Walt's head. That's where we are. And the reason I say that is there's certain things in this series that basically are replacements of the original Star Wars. For example, in I think it was episode 4, there was a lightsaber training session with Sabine, which reflected Luke Skywalker's lightsaber training. They refer to all the events of the Death Star of both Death Stars as the Great War. So they're not even going to acknowledge that. Anakin is completely replaced Darth Vader. So you're going to see the memory of Darth Vader go away. And I don't know if you caught it, but do you remember on the Sabine and Ahsoka are outside, and they talk briefly about her coming to the planet, going with Thrawn to this planet, and she says, "Hey, the your plan worked." But at one point she says, "I'm sorry." Sabine says to Ahsoka, "I'm sorry." And do you remember how Ahsoka responded to her?
No, I don't remember that.
Okay, so Sabine says, "I'm sorry," and Ahsoka responds, "I know."
Oh no!
Yeah.
No!
They're just little things.
What? That went right by me. It's so stupid.
Oh my god!
God.
It's like, it's again, they've basically taken this series and replaced little things that you loved about the original Star Wars, and says now Disney Star Wars has claimed these things, and Lucas Star Wars no longer matters anymore. And that's kind of my feeling right now after seeing this. The last thing I'll say, and I've heard it mentioned on many other shows, but this was an 8-episode waste of time that could have been summed up in 1 or 2 episodes, because nothing happens except everyone trades places, and we're left with somewhat of a unsatisfying ending. There's no sense of closure. There's no sense of, do I care what happens next? I don't care what happens next. And I have to believe that the audience that has been watching the show, let's say half of the audience of Rebels watch the show. I don't see those numbers as being big enough to keep the series going. And I don't know what Disney is doing if they keep doing it. So that's my general thought about the series and about this episode.
Well, I would echo everything you just said. I think it was a complete waste of time. This was a setup for stuff that will come at some point in the future, which is going to be Ahsoka season 2, and or a movie that connects,
the Filoni movie, right?
The Filoni movie that will connect all the Disney Plus series into one movie. Just make the movie. It felt that there. I'll go through sort of the main. I have 3 or 4 main things that I think make this show very weak, and that is the story is not driven by character. There's a lack of understanding of exactly what we know what some of the characters want, all of those things are so dumb. Sabine wants to save Ezra. What does Ahsoka want? To stop Thrawn. But how does this tie into who they are as a person? To contrast this with One Piece or Opla, One Piece live action, which you and I both, or I saw. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
No,
You haven't seen. Yeah. One Piece live action on Netflix is an achievement. It's every one of the main characters, you get their backstory, including stories of trauma each experienced as a child that ties into who they are as a person. There's no backstory to this. The backstory is supposed to be Rebels and the Clone Wars, which frankly, most people have not seen. I'm sorry. If you're a fan of it, bravo. And if you like it, I don't have any problem with anyone who actually likes the show. I'm glad that you're enjoying it, but for the most of us that aren't paying attention, or I only really pay attention when it's something big, it's a movie or maybe a live action series, you've got my attention. Even though I haven't seen all the Marvel Disney Plus shows, I just haven't. The story is not driven by character. And you see when, and also the writing is just plain bad. Why is the writing bad? Here's why. Because Disney themselves, Disney Lucasfilm, under this umbrella, Disney Lucasfilm, Marvel, though they are the ones making these series for Disney Plus, right? So Lucasfilm just started a TV division within Lucasfilm. Marvel, same thing. They started Marvel Studios, which makes the movies and the TV shows. What other streaming services do is that they contract with outside production companies. And those production companies, they owe everything to the studios, not only to be on budget, but to deliver a great show, and a show that, while all the conflicts may not be resolved in a first season, they'll at least, like, maybe they'll leave something hanging, but you've got an entire story that plays out to a satisfying conclusion where you're excited to see what happens next. One Piece came to a conclusion that resolved all of the main conflicts in season 1, while at the same time there were other things that were teased or other conflicts that are for some time far in the future, but were not a part of the season 1 arc. Disney does not know how to do television. Lucasfilm doesn't know how to make television, and Marvel doesn't know how to make television because they started these divisions within their own companies. If you've got an outside, if you look at most television that is produced, and I'm saying for the streaming services, this is also true of network television. There are tons of logos you see at the beginning and or the ends of shows. And sometimes some of them become really recognizable, right? Like Bad Robot, that little, robot animation that's at the end of the show. And some of these production companies become really, really renowned because they do really great television. Look for those logos. You don't see them. They're figuring out how to make television while making television. And that's a terrible way of doing it. That's why so many other shows are produced by production companies, and that's what they do. That is what they solely do, is they make great shows that people come back to, and they are beholden to their financiers, which are the studio, to make those shows. Someone asked me recently, I'm not going to say who, someone you all know, how do I sell a show to Netflix? Someone asked me, a YouTuber that I know, how do I sell it? You don't sell a show to Netflix. Netflix doesn't care what Alan Ng show that Alan Ng is trying to sell. It's not Alan Ng. It's not. I'm using you as an example because you're right there. Sorry, Alan.
Yeah, I don't make TV shows, so
no.
I'm good.
But what I'm saying is Netflix isn't going to buy a show from Alan Ng from Orange County. Netflix will buy a show from a production company that they've had experience working with, that they know will be responsible with tens of millions of dollars, that they know will meet deadlines, not just for their show, but for the international versions of their show. The post-production process, which is why most of these shows are finished shooting production-wise a year in advance. You've got a year of post-production, which is special effects, music, additional dialogue, recording, editing, and international versions of everything. Netflix knows how to do it because they have hired the best production companies to do that. And Disney wants to own the process. So what it's doing is it's costing them by having them make mistakes, not just in the storytelling, but I am sure in the process of making these shows. So they all cost too much money. There's a triangle with project management. And I wrote about this in a book I did years ago called The Ultimate Film Festival Survival Guide. Here's the triangle: good, fast, cheap. Pick two. You only get two. Unless it's a luxury, maybe, and you're working for Disney. You can get good in terms of quality. You can get fast, but it's going to cost a lot of money. Or you can get cheap and you may be sacrificing on good, production value, etc. Good, fast, cheap. That is a project management, like it's the triangle that everybody knows. I apply it to filmmaking, and you can apply it to other types of project management. Good, fast, cheap, pick two. I tend to go with cheap and good, which is why my documentary, Attack of the Doc, took like 3 years. Part of it was the pandemic, and then the other part was G4 coming back. Those two things were like wrenches. But if I could choose one, I will choose good and cheap over fast, because I know that what I create is going to live longer. And so if it took a year longer than it should have, that's the way it is. But it was done inexpensively, and it was also done to the quality level, that I'm comfortable with. So remember that when it comes to project management. This shows, so you've got the characters aren't driving the story because we don't understand what each character wants, right? What they really want. Not, I want to save Ezra. We did that already. I want to stop Thrawn. Good luck. What's your plan? We never hear what the plan is. We never heard what their plan was. It was to go on the ship and stop them, and they fail, but not even in a really interesting way. They just fail.
They just failed. They ran out of time.
They ran out of time. Thrawn left. So there you go. What does Thrawn want? What does Thrawn? The writing of Thrawn is so bad in this show. I don't know what the stakes are, why it matters. And Thrawn, as was written here in the Timothy Zahn Heir to the Empire novels, which I've read, and I just recently ordered the audio book versions because I want to reread it to remind myself of how good it was. My memory of it was Thrawn was so powerful. He was this supreme intellect that would evaluate a civilization, discover through their artwork. He would study the art, the popular art of the planet, the dominant culture. He would look at their art and understand what they feared. And he would use the fears of an advanced civilization against the people of that planet. And he would conquer them using their own fears by studying their art. It was so well described in the book and so chilling. You were genuinely frightened. I mean, frightened on the level of a Darth Vader. The way they introduced Thrawn to the Thrawn, he's kind of like walking through them. Why is he walking? Is he going to a meeting? I don't know. Also, he doesn't seem particularly intimidating. A better introduction to Thrawn, using what I know about the character, could have been something like this. Okay, use your imagination for a second, knowing what Thrawn is. Thrawn is sitting at the command center. He's annoyed by an underling who announces to him something along the lines of, Grand Admiral, that's the third planet you've conquered in this system. Why are we wasting time and resources conquering these small planets? Practice. Some chilling line. He dispenses with a, you get to see the real cost. You see a civilization die and be taken into captivity or something. You see the real cost, the threat, like what the stakes are, that if he returns the galactic empire we know and love, right, and launches a full-scale assault on Coruscant, he could destroy the universe as we know it. As it is, that we already know that's not going to happen because of the First Order. What we're seeing is the seeds of the First Order. And we know that Grand Admiral Thrawn didn't survive because I've seen the Star Wars sequels. So it's a little disheartening. But there's so many other ways you could have. Think of some of the great scenes in Star Wars. A scene where a bunch of generals and commanders are sitting around a desk on the Death Star talking. It's riveting. It's riveting. Darth Vader kind of tortures a guy, toying with him for fun. Even a scene in episode 1, which I think is really aged well. Episode 1, where a cloaked Darth Sidious and Darth Maul, they're just having a conversation. It's a minute scene. At last, we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last, we will have revenge. A line. I get chills thinking about it. There wasn't one line in Ahsoka that defined Thrawn as a character, told us what the stakes were, or even told us what the reasons were. You will get revenge for their, something along the lines of revenge for what they did to the Emperor. There's so much. Thrawn has a vendetta. He's got something to prove, and he wants revenge on the rebels that drove him from his home. And none of that is present. The second thing is just dumb, convenient story points. We're going to get to your comments in a moment. Right now, we're talking spoilers. So I'm just going to, if anyone
sorry,
cares.
Sorry, folks. If you haven't had a chance to see the entire Ahsoka series, we're going to spoil it for you.
Well, we'll spoil the ending of this.
The beautiful ending that made everyone cry?
Well, first of all, I'd like your take on the ending. I'm talking about the final events when they go to the Thrawn's Star Destroyer and what happened there. What I want to hear your thoughts, Alan, and then want to skip to mine only because I've been talking too much. So, and I like to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know. Like, I don't know what Alan's opinions are on things when we go on a stream together.
Yeah. Wait till we talk about Loki. You're going to love it.
Oh my God. I can't wait. All right. Your thoughts on, and the third act of the final episode. Let's focus on the third act and kind of where things ended. So we're in spoiler territory now.
Yeah, let me bring I wrote down some lines here because from your last point about it's time for us to be revealed, it's time for revenge. Those are great dual lines here, and so throughout the series, throughout this episode, I've noticed all Ahsoka does is all her dialogue is basically some seemingly profound thoughts or response to what someone says. For example, Sabine says regarding Ezra, I never thought I'd see him again. And Ahsoka responds, "You might not have if you had chosen differently." Put that on a mug. Yeah. Okay, so Ezra says, "Sorry to state the obvious, but this is going to slow us down a bit." And then Ahsoka responds, "Only if we let it."
Yeah, that's right. Some of the dialogue was so bad. I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like,
here's another one.
It wasn't memorable.
Yeah, here's another one. It wasn't safe to come here alone. You're not alone anymore.
I feel like a lot of these lines seem like placeholder. You know what I mean? They seem
no. It seems like an amateur writer who's getting off on what he thinks are clever lines. And for some reason, no one in Lucasfilm or Disney is willing to tell this guy that your dialogue sucks and that it needs a rewrite. As much as we didn't want the writer's room demands met, this show needed a writer's room because there was one guy writing it and he doesn't know how to write. I sent a super chat to you guys earlier today, but did anyone see Dave Filoni on the picket line, or was he too afraid to be associated with real writers? This guy.
That's right. On the Nooner, you sent the super chat in.
Yeah, I mean, look, watch the documentary that comes with the Ahsoka series, the one that sets it up, because half of the documentary is about, Dave did such a good job with Clone Wars. Dave did a great job with The Mandalorian and bringing in Ahsoka. It's time to give Dave his opportunity. And they gave Dave his opportunity. And this is what we got. And you realize he wasn't ready. He was not ready. And, it's... Look, there's still more of this coming, and there's no indication that the quality of this is going to get better. Maybe Andor. The thing that will say something about Andor is we criticized Andor a lot. We talked about timing, we talked about pacing. Right. If they fix it in the second season, it will say whether they're listening to us or not. Or whether they're just going to continue to do whatever they want. It's the arrogance of Disney right now to say that because we made it, you need to watch it, as opposed to the other way around, saying we need you to watch our stuff, so we're going to write things that you are interested in. And so we'll see with Andor, but I have no faith in any other project coming out of Lucasfilm.
Yeah. I agree. I just again, it's the arrogance of them thinking that they can produce television when it's much more difficult than you would think. It's far more difficult to do quality television. So there you are.
And you talk about Disney, Disney Channel was successful for a very long time because they knew their audience and they wrote to their audience. They don't know the Star Wars audience at all. They don't know the Marvel audience, and certainly don't know the Muppet audience either. So
I love the Muppets.
I know they've ruined everything I love, Disney, including themselves.
I think part of it is like a lot of those lines in the show felt very placeholder to me. Mm-hmm. A lot of the lines were like, this is my first draft of the script. I will go back to that, write something more clever, and have it be memorable. But I can't. There's so many memorable lines, actually, oddly, from the prequels. Mm-hmm. Think back. Okay, think back to the prequels. There are lines in there that are quotable. What is your favorite line from the Star Wars sequels? I bypassed the compressor. You're not going to put that on a t-shirt. It's not a memorable lines, memorable moments. It just doesn't exist. It doesn't exist at all. It's disheartening. Now, let's talk about the actual endings, the other parts of the third act. Sabine gets her Jedi powers.
Yeah, Sabine, apparently StarWars.com, I haven't checked it yet, so I'm reading what I read on the internet. But according to StarWars.com, Sabine is now officially a Jedi.
Is the actress who plays Sabine is Asian, right?
Yes.
It's part Asian? I don't know.
Yeah, probably part, but who knows nowadays?
Aren't you happy?
Yes, I am. No, and I appreciate all the Asian references that Dave Filoni has brought into it. He refers to a Ronin at one point. During the lightsaber training session, he's playing, some nice Japanese music in the background. So I'm appreciative that Asia has spread across the entire galaxy and that our culture will live on beyond Earth itself.
Yeah. And there's also that Asian X-Wing pilot that is, honestly, I don't think that guy's an actor.
No, he is. He was in Kim's Convenience, a really great series starring Simu Liu.
He's so not good. Look.
He's a comedian, and they're not letting him be funny.
Typical.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tickle you with my lightsaber. I just think, I don't think that guy's very good. He kind of takes me out of every scene. It's like he's just doing a different acting style, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he in Kim's Convenience, he plays the Korean father with a very heavy accent.
Oh my God, I've seen the show.
Yeah,
I've seen the show with the dad. Remember the one, the gay discount episode?
Yeah.
Look up.
It's in the first season, by the way. It's
first season. There's an episode called Gay. I don't know if it's called that, but the dad ends up giving everyone a gay discount. So if you're gay, you get a discount at his store. So
yeah, I mean, that show is so much better than Fresh Off the Boat was.
Well, there you are. But no, okay. So so Sabine is now a Jedi. I don't know. It just felt kind of shoehorned in. I don't have as big a problem with it as some other people do. It just seems like everything's on easy mode now. It just doesn't matter. Everything is just plot convenience. But here's the thing that bugs me. So they jumped. What was the plan? They were jumping to the ship. Sabine was going to jump, but she stays behind to help Ahsoka, who then dispenses with
well, that was the
what's her name?
sacrifice. I think it was clear that she was sacrificing her destiny to stay with Ahsoka.
But she abandoned Ezra, and then what's his plan? He's one guy on a Star Destroyer.
Well,
okay, but what?
Okay, so this is it.
Okay.
Because we haven't seen Rebels, we don't understand the full impact of who Ezra is, and I've come to realize that Ezra is Space Jesus.
Right.
He is the Messiah, and that he is going to save the universe. So it was more important that Ezra got back home than it was for Ahsoka and Sabine. And this is me just thinking about, this guy must be really important for them to travel all this way to risk letting Thrawn loose, which they did. Right. So Ezra has to be Space Jesus. He has to have superpowers, the power to heal, the power to die and resurrect in 3 days, and the power to die for the galaxy's sins. And so I think Ezra is the key, and you don't need to have seen Rebels to figure that one out.
Yeah. It just well, okay. Let's go through then what happens at the very end. So Ezra's on that ship. He dispenses with a stormtrooper. You can see that he's gonna do this is the old trick. You just dress in the stormtrooper uniform. That's an oldie but a goodie. It's fine, whatever. It's happened in Star Wars. We've seen it now happen a lot in The Last Jedi, in this, whatever. Yeah. That's fine.
Again, they're commandeering, appropriating old Star Wars for new Star Wars. Yes.
But what's the plan? Meaning, I understood in previous Star Wars movies what the plan was, or what the circumstances were, or what the stakes were. It seemed very clear in previous. I'm speaking about the movies and not the sequels necessarily, because I have too many problems with that. But was their plan look, if we take out the engine on Thrawn's ship, we can prevent him from entering our galaxy. We must do that. In a way to do that more, just do it, say those words, but more elegantly than I just said. Just say those words, but something along the lines of, tell me what the plan is so I can understand the goal. I don't care if they succeed or not. I want to know what the stakes are, what they're trying to do. None of that was ever explained. We have to stop Thrawn, so we're going to the ship to do what?
Well, remember there are boxes in the storage unit of the starship, the Star Destroyer. Those boxes are really important. I don't know what's in them. I don't know what he's going to do with them, but it's really important that they go across the galaxy.
Yeah.
And again, this is the problem: is they're Dave Filoni knows what is going on. He just doesn't know how to communicate that to people. And the problem is we are the ones getting blamed for not understanding his story.
Well, everything is being dragged out. There are no payoffs. It's setups with very little payoff. And it's really frustrating to watch the show. In addition to the fact that it feels so drawn out. Everything's just drawn out. Throw out this. If it's an idea you're saving, don't save your ideas. Throw them out there, and then it forces you to come up with new ideas, new stakes, whatever, but have a plan. So Ezra goes on that ship. Somehow Ezra escapes and returns to his galaxy to see Hera, right? Hera, who never uses these goggles that are on her head in the live action. Has she ever worn them? Is she just
but you've got to understand that those goggles are important because it keeps her headpiece on. Because
right.
Without her tails would fall off. And then
she'd have to go through even more makeup. Elizabeth. Yeah. And I don't have a problem with any of the actors. Actually, I think most of the actors are pretty good in the show, including Rosario Dawson, who I think is just getting some bad direction and also
bad dialogue
and bad scripts. But actually, I don't have a problem with any of the actors, frankly.
Yeah, he used to be.
Even Ezra, I think, is fine. The guy who plays Ezra is fine. So he gets back to their galaxy, but he left his friends behind, so they just switched. So now Sabine, Ahsoka are they're trapped now in this other faraway galaxy. So now Ezra's there, and it's what was their point? What was accomplished? Even if they don't stop Thrawn and get away with their lives, fine, I'm okay with that. That's fine. But the fact that like it's dumb. So now they're in that other galaxy. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's
I
just,
mean,
it's
this is the thing.
stupid.
We've invested 6 weeks or 8 weeks,
Yeah.
2 months watching this, and that's where we're left off. They don't respect our time.
Right. Well,
And people who look, people who say that, I do not understand how people can say this is a great series. I just don't. And I think that a lot of it has to do with the type of stories these Gen Z kids and millennials have grown up with. They don't understand what good storytelling is. They've never watched classics.
Well, there's no subtext at all. Paul Chato talks about that a lot. But what do you think about the use of the Force in this show and how they've changed the Force? The thing is, here's the thing. They've thrown in so many things that are ridiculous. They say, like, in writing, you sort of build a world, you stick to the rules that you create, and maybe in the third act you can throw out something that we haven't seen before, but you've got,
or you could push those limits. You can go beyond the limits of the rule you set up to make it interesting.
But you've got like hyperspace space whales. You've got zombies are part of the Star Wars universe. You have witches. Like, what is this show even? And then just messing with the Force.
To move objects with your hands, to get lucky, so to speak. What is the Force? We talked about.
Are you really wearing like tidy whities like that underwear when I force pulled them from you?
That day I was, yeah.
Okay, well that's good.
I still haven't gotten them back to put them back on.
All right. I'll give them to you. I'll give them to you.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Glanuccio, for an amazing new fun video for us to show. But back to just the fact that they're throwing all this stuff in. The third act kind of leaves us like they're either gonna do season 2 of Ahsoka, or they're gonna go right into the Filoni movie. And will people know and will they care? And just as you and I have had issues, or at least I have had issues, because I only saw season 1 of Rebels. I saw the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars. I watched some of Clone Wars, but I'm a guy that likes this stuff, right? So, I'm not keeping up. Imagine someone going to the movies to see a new Star Wars movie with all this backstory. You need to have seen Rebels, Clone Wars, and Ahsoka, and Boba Fett, and there's too much.
Yeah, and then give us $20 so you can go see this movie. Yeah, I mean, would you spend the $20?
Yeah, I mean,
you're asking a lot of an audience that doesn't understand what you're doing, and you talk about the Force. I've from Kenobi, I was just saying, the rules of the Force has changed. The nature of the Force has changed, and it's almost undefinable. It's more, it's become psychic powers. You just think it and it happens. That's what the Force is. Early on in the first, in episode 4 and episode 1, it's just this idea of a living force that flowed through everything, and people were more sensitive to be able to attach themselves to it. But now it's psychic powers, and it made me wonder. Thrawn had spent 10 years, however long on this planet. If everyone has access to the Force, rather than have zombie stormtroopers, why not have Force-powered stormtroopers?
Oh, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Yeah. At least they did. At least the chairs and all the spaceships were good. So.
Yeah, let's be fair. That was a transport. You don't expect them to have high quality chairs nailed.
Fine. All right. Final thoughts on this, and then we're gonna go to your comments and questions, and we'll respond to those. Final thoughts on Ahsoka, the full season.
Waste of time.
Yeah.
Waste of time. From where you started and where you got to in this season, it's a complete waste of time. You just swap characters, the location of characters,
Yeah.
and you know, and you leave more questions. And again, if you haven't watched everything, there's no point in watching this. And I'm pretty sure if you hadn't watched everything, you dropped out at best episode 2.
Yeah, I unfortunately I have to agree. I feel like you've got to like just cut to the chase, raise the stakes. Tell me why Thrawn is such a threat. I have not seen it. I have not seen Thrawn be a threat. And that scene I described earlier in the show about Thrawn just thinking it's nothing to conquer a planet. Yeah, you know, yes, we used to do things with Death Stars, but you know, this is how I do things. I do things maybe differently than the previous administration. And then the final thing, Anakin showing up at the end with this proud look that's right out of Return of the Jedi. Oh, look at my little apprentice, how she's doing. And there's Ghost Anakin. I thought that was just terrible. It was god awful. What did you think?
Yeah, it was to make you cry. And I'm sure when Dave Filoni wrote that scene, in his mind, it was, this is going to be the greatest thing ever. And I made it. I made it, and the world will love me for it.
Yeah,
thanks, Dave.
I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. And I'm just disappointed. Look, and to be clear, I want to love Star Wars. I want to love it. I want Star Wars to be about something. I want the original Star Wars to me, and this is why it resonated with so many people, and it's why we're still talking about it now. It resonated because it was about something. It was about the human condition and our story as a civilization and a people and where we've gotten to. And it's also a morality tale. It was very inspired by Christianity and many religions, Buddhism. The Force was inspired by religions. Now it's just a set of powers you select, like on a video game. I will use Force healing. I will now use jumping. I'm gonna use, like, it's stupid. It's stupid. It needs to be about more than just more Star Wars. It has to tell us a story that resonates, you know, across anyone. That's why Star Wars was so relatable, and this does not accomplish that, unfortunately. Let's go to your super.
I'll just say it's sad because they had the tools and the assets to make something great, and they've squandered it.
Yeah, I really don't have a problem with many of the special effects. I think the special effects, the production value, the music, the casting, the big problem with this and almost everything, it's the writing. I do have a problem with some of the direction because I think it's weak, but with good writing, man, that's the least. I mean, television is a writer's medium. Film, theatrically released big movies, is a director's medium. You've heard people say this. It's a writer and producer medium, frankly, for television. Producer's medium, writer, and big budget Hollywood movies, that's directors, fine. But man, the weakness is the writing. Let's go to the super chats here. Ministry of Wrong Think says requires multiple seasons of homework for context equals no beginning. The season is full of contradictory nonsense, no middle. The season ends on a cliffhanger, no end. It's literally not a story. Thank you, Ministry of Wrong Think. Appreciate that.
Good analysis.
It's a very good analysis. I'm going to keep going down doing super chats here. Graph Web for 2. For God's sake, cancel Disney Plus. That is an option. Thank you for 2. Matthew Hammond for $4.99. Always like to see Matthew Hammond. Turns up on a lot of shows I watch. Like Matthew Hammond just gave Nerdrotic or Ryan Kittle a super chat. Matthew Hammond is cheating on me. Now that's all. It's all good, yeah. Matthew. We you know what? Appreciate.
He's got plenty of money. Just let him spread it around however.
I appreciate it. Is all.
He's filthy rich. I mean,
thank you, Matthew. what happened to TV shows that had 20 to 24 shows in a season with a hiatus in the winter and summer that did not have a year of post-production? I don't know that that's possible because we live in a global release schedule. So, for example, shows that came out in the United States like decades ago, it would come to the United States. If it was popular in the US, they would sell a version. Actually, there's a documentary about that of
Oh, everybody
everybody
loves Raymond.
Everybody Loves Raymond. They did a Russian version of it. Watch the documentary. It's really interesting. And they took Everybody Loves Raymond and they took the scripts. They just did a version in Russian. Also, you can take popular shows. You can, if they are popular and they're successful, they will export to other countries. We used to do that. Now it's a global release slate on one day. So because Disney Plus is a global, a streaming service that is available globally, the reason for a year of post-production is you've not only got to finish the show, you've then got to finish the show in, I'm don't quote me, but I know at the Cannes film market, there are about 180 countries represented. I'm not sure exactly how many languages that represents, but 180 countries are at the Cannes film market. So you've got, they speak English in the UK, so you're good on that. Spanish language is spoken in several countries. You're going to do different versions. You've got to have closed captioning done. I mean, I did this. Look, I dealt with this when I finished my movie Attack of the Doc. I had to do the closed captioning. I had to do, if you want to sell to other markets, there's certain things you have to have, right? Closed captioning is one of them. All those things is a person's job. So it really has to do with production methods more than anything else.
Let's be real. There's, back decades ago it was appointment television. You had to be home, you had to watch a show, and if you missed it, you missed it. Maybe you'll catch it on the rerun. That's not true anymore with streaming and with DVD. That the need, 20 to 24 shows. I don't know that a series can sustain it anymore. Maybe Law and Order is the only one that can really sustain that long of a season nowadays. And there's already a built-in syndication that goes in with that to make it even more money. And so they've all gone to the British model of 7 or 8 episode seasons.
No, thank you, Matthew. Contrarian 420 for 2 says, who's Ahsoka? We didn't get to know her well in, 7 hours of TV. We just didn't get to know her well. And we got to know all of the characters in One Piece, which is also technically 8 episodes, Alan. You need to see One Piece. You need to see One Piece just to...
Have you seen Jawan yet, by the way?
I haven't seen Jawan.
Okay,
Alan.
There we go. We're busy. That's the thing.
You and I, do you realize how much work you and I have to do over the next 2 months?
Oh my God. I mean,
we got award.
Look, we're doing record-breaking numbers of reviews this week. And I was up till 2 last night getting all the reviews ready for today.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So. But ask for help. This is Alan and I both share the same problem in terms of our work habits. I almost never ask for help. I don't ask for help. I'm just like, I'll do it. So, but yeah, One Piece is very worthwhile.
And Jawan as well. Go see Jawan.
I will see Jawan. It's not in theaters anymore. Pokey for 5.
You'll find it. Okay, go.
Pokey for 5. All Thrawn had to do was get away from the tower after the shuttle was damaged. Why did he stay? He had all the cargo by then. Yeah, it didn't make any sense when it was like the reverse cow destroyer position. People were like, it looked like, the tower looked like, I can't lie, it looked like a penis. And it looked like it was doing reverse star destroyer, reverse cow destroyer.
You know what bothered me? The Jedi ship, they're towing it along. It's moving very slow. And then a sneak attack by 2 TIE fighters that couldn't hit it.
Right. More super chats here. Then we're going to go to other comments as well. Mike Dude for 1999. The statues Balin was on were the Mortis gods. The son, embodiment of the dark side. The daughter, head missing, embodiment of the light side. And the father, the balance. Lucas was heavily involved in the Mortis arc in the Clone Wars. That actually sounds really interesting. I would not have known that because no one told me.
I'll say I'm glad I found out through a super chat, but I wish I had found out in the show.
That's a YouTube short right there.
Yeah, there you go. No, but what was the other thing? The title of the episode. Do you remember what it was?
Yes.
Yeah, the Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord. This goes back to your chair and ladder reference.
Right.
They're using modern terminologies, modern titles, and connecting to Star Wars when they really shouldn't.
No, they shouldn't. It should be more in the spirit of Star Wars. I miss the opening crawl.
Yeah.
I miss chapters. I miss get in one paragraph in Star Wars. You know how much backstory is told in one paragraph? That saved that movie. And it was the writing of that was helped by John Milius in the early showings. And the opening crawl was very different and convoluted. Lucas wanted to do something to kind of like explain it. It's so well done. And yeah, it's great. That opening crawl, you could have seen, there was like these opening paragraphs, but it really didn't tell you much. Matthew Hammond for $4.99 is back. Is Disney shooting these shows like movies where post-production has started after everything is shot and reshot? That I don't actually know. I don't know for a fact exactly what their process is.
There's a process. We're assuming there's a process.
Okay. We're assuming there's a process. I just know how look, you can do it. You can do a lot of previs. You can do no previs. Previs will save you money. It's like Catherine Hardwicke, who was on our show a couple months ago. Catherine Hardwicke, the director of the first Twilight movie, which is to me the most watchable of those because it felt like an actual movie. Then they go off the rails. She said, "Fix it in prep." That was her mantra as a director is fix it in prep. You laboriously prep. So you're just getting what you need. You're getting what you need to tell the story. Jurassic 4x4 for $5. This show has killed Star Wars. It has no pacing and terrible writing. Go watch Midnight Mass, a show with a great story and payoff.
Or better yet, go to Midnight Mass.
I'm going to watch Gen V. I'll probably catch up this weekend. We'll talk about it next Wednesday, Alan. We'll talk about Gen V next week. At least I'll talk about it because I love the boys. I know it's flawed. I love the boys. Darth Racer 777 for $5. Dawson did okay as Ahsoka in the Mando series. What happened to her in the show? The director, the writers?
More than
I don't know. I think Rosario. I actually don't have a problem with Rosario. Look, Rosario is told what to do by the director, and she's told what to say by the writer. And Rosario Dawson has been in many other things. I think she's been really good. I like her. I like her also as a person. She hasn't particularly said anything too stupid on social media or whatnot. They've even tried to cancel her, Gina Carano style. I'm not going to recount exactly why, but they've come after Rosario Dawson. For some reason, that's all gone away. It's all kind of disappeared. And it was for similar reasons they came after Rosario that they did for Gina Carano. And I think letting go of Gina Carano for political reasons when that same standard wasn't held for other people, I think was a huge mistake. I think that turned a lot of people off. You mean the people working on Star Wars it's not like a balanced group of people, right? I mean, I like to think that at Film Threat, we have a balanced group of people, writing and doing things at Film Threat. We got people from all over.
Yeah, we just took on a Brit. And so
we took on a Brit.
Yeah. By the way, one thing about Rosario Dawson's casting, which I found unique, and I wish studios would do more, but they hired an actress or an actor who looked like the character, the original character.
I like Rosario Dawson.
Yeah, they should do that.
I like her.
They should do that more with their properties. Cast people who look like the original characters. Maybe people respond to those better.
Mike Dude for $1.99 says Gen V as well if you two review it. Okay, I don't know as well. Mike Dude, I look, can I just say I watched the first 10 minutes of the first episode and I was riveted and I said no. I need to savor this. The first 10 minutes a young girl she's at home with her family, sister, mom and dad at home. She has she's bleeding from a place, and the blood is lethal. And horrible things happen to her family. It's the first few minutes of the first episode, which puts you in the world. If the seven in the boys is the Avengers, Gen V are like the X-Men going to an academy to be trained with whatever their powers are to potentially be, go to some particular city to fight crime there, or even potentially be one of the seven. It ties directly into the boys, which is a show that I've really enjoyed. And I will be watching Gen V this weekend. I know there's a new episode out, might be out now. I'll catch up. So there's like 4 episodes out. So I am going to watch it. Alan, you've got too much to do.
Yeah, if
I'll take care of it. I'll watch it, Alan.
I should remind you, you've got Loki and a guest coming up. So
yes. Well, also, Loki and a guest, and then we got to check the jigsaws. We're gonna go through a few more of these. But thank you, Mike Dude, and Mike Dude.
Emails after the guest.
Mike Dude again for $4.99. It was fun and eye-opening seeing your viewpoints throughout the series. Looking forward to what you guys have to say on Loki season 2. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you for that, Mike Dude. Thank you for both of your super chats. I have to do something very quickly. Alan, can you start? Yeah. Let's see. Move to Australia. Says Adam for $2.99. Well, there you go. I would love to just move somewhere else. So I'll be right back, Alan. I'll be right back.
We'll go down. We'll keep going here. My third IJ. Okay. I apologize to Alan for voting to make him review Ahsoka last month. Yeah, we're all paying for it. But believe me, there's plenty of people reviewing it. Valiant Renegade. Hey, welcome. The Sabine Show. That's right. I don't understand how they're titling these things. They're creatively bankrupt over at Disney. Decoder. I never watched any of the anime for One Piece. I've never read a single manga, and I was able to enjoy the live action series immensely. Great storytelling. That's what I hear. If I had time, I would watch it. John Manilang. If the prerequisite for a new show is to watch an old show released years ago, then it's not a good new show to begin with. Yeah, I think that just goes to the fact that studios are risk averse. They're spending hundreds of $millions on a property, and they want success. They want guaranteed success, and so they'll only do adaptations or existing properties. That they rarely ever invest in something brand new, and you've got to earn that kind of credit if you're going to do it. Lord Thoth, have you seen the writer's room for Disney Star Wars? That will answer your question why this is terrible. Yes, there was a writer's room. It was one guy. Let's see. Caravaggio. The writing isn't bad. It's felonious. Yeah. Right. Alex Pans. Let's be honest. Besides Andor and Rogue One, Disney Star Wars is basically crap. They bastardized the old EU they canceled because it was not good enough for them. What the hell? Yeah, I've mentioned this before, but I think it would have been cheaper just to pay off the original writers, give George Lucas more money, and just adapt stuff that has already succeeded instead of pour money into a project and a property and just lose it all. I think Disney lost $900 million last year. Could have spent that on on the original writers. Okay, Brock Samsonite. Ahsoka is for Clone Wars and Rebel fans. Plain and simple. If you don't like those shows, this show won't matter to you. 100% agree. Right. Bill S. Preston, Esquire. I understand Chris's point, but Disney had done successful TV shows internally for decades. The problem is today they don't know their audience, and they foul up overseeing outside production companies. Yeah, look, Disney Channel again. There was a reason why they were successful for a very long time. They knew their audience, which was basically children and preteens, and they gave. I would never claim that High School Musical was great, but it certainly resonated. I had my daughter was into Descendants. She was a big fan of Descendants, and me trying to watch that was just pure torture. But Disney knew what they were, what they had and what they needed to do, and they, they found success. They just don't know how to do it with Marvel, Star Wars, and everything else. All right, film. Okay, from Rumble, BMO Better. I was the target audience, and I found it to be a waste of time. It failed to have a complete story. Yeah, I would agree with you. The story is everything, and even if you strip away Star Wars and watch it in a vacuum, not good. The storytelling is it doesn't even follow the convention storytelling. Robert Shannon, Disney's Thrawn isn't even smart enough to shut the interior doors during an assault. Oh, there's a whole lot of things they should have been doing. All that time on that planet, they could have at least taught stormtroopers how to shoot straight. Bill S. Preston Esquire, Mahler was joking that Thrawn has the virgin posture, head leaning forward like a turtle. Very cute. Sexy. Valiant Renegade, hey, it's all at Film Threat's fault. Toxic fans ruined Ahsoka. Yeah, we did it.
100%, 100%.
It was all on us.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
Because the gold and the diamonds, the gems that were Ahsoka, we want to keep it for ourselves, and so we told everybody that the show sucks. So mission accomplished. And then Katie got Ahsoka ambidextrous, it sucks and blows at the same time. Those fight scenes, Rosario Dawson, how awkward were her movements? How it should be a ballet in a way, and it just it was really hard to watch her fights, Ahsoka's action specifically, and again, I for people to say that it was great, I just don't understand it. Different days.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. How many more comments?
Oh my God! Here. Yeah, we need to.
We have.
We'll go to the super chat here.
Just the super chats, but wait a sec. If you could just unstar the comments.
Yeah, I
wasn't
did.
Here. Unstar the comments. We have just more comments we have time to get to. So let's just do super chats only. Chloe for 499. Writers now only care about no longer giving a care about what never really knowing where with them, only leaving us asking why, what was the reason? Precisely. They
think yes.
Huh?
No. No. This is business.
Go ahead, Alan.
This is business. Disney is too big to fail, and so they don't care about their audience, and they're willing to throw away money to create content and not care that people aren't watching it.
Valiant Renegade says Rosario Dawson looked slow and weak. That's why you use. There's two ways to deal with that. One, you use a stunt person. Two, you want to hear a little trick a friend of mine who would do fight scenes told me? Sometimes fight scenes are done in slow motion and then sped up to regular speed. So, for example, you and I will do this one day, Alan. So we'll get together and you and I will have a fight, but we're going like this. And then you're reacting like that. Or I'm going like I'm literally moving at this speed. Or this speed, or this speed. And then what you do is you speed up the video so that it looks like you're going normal speed, but maybe a little half tick above normal speed. Little trick that a lot of fight scenes will use. So there you go. I'm still confused. Is Ahsoka an Ewok? Jawa, says Contrarian 420 for 2. No, just Ahsoka is, I don't know, an unspecified species. Beerosaurus Rex for 5. Took my kid to Paw Patrol for their first ever theater experience. They had a great time. Do you remember what you first took your kids to? Yes. took my daughter to see The Lion King. She was about 2 years old. It was her first movie in a theater. And I mean, part of it, especially the beginning, is like Bambi, right? And it's tragic. So that was her first experience in a movie theater. Alan, for you.
It was Tangled, another Disney movie. We
There
were
you
on
go.
we were on vacation in Vegas and came out and we watched it. And she still watches it today.
Yeah. Well, there you go. A lot of kids' first experiences is Disney.
Yeah, mine was Mary Poppins. That was my first movie.
That was your first movie?
Yeah.
First movie I remember seeing in a theater. I saw a lot of movies as a kid. I remember seeing 2001: A Space Odyssey, and I remember being freaked out. Valiant Renegade is back and says, tag y'all in a Twitter post from last night. That is what I'm talking about. All right. I will check you on Twitter, Valiant. I know I follow you. So there you go. We have a lot more comments. We'll see how much time we have at the end of the show. We got to talk Loki.
Yeah.
We'll come back to these. We'll come back to some of these comments. We'll do a comment section. But we need to talk about Loki season 2. It is here. We're going to pivot. Alan. How do we do that? Let's talk Loki season 2. It is here. It is the continuation of Loki season 1. It's the continuation of the character Loki from the very first Avengers movie. That Loki, the trickster, powers of magic, but he's also pure evil. He's not the Loki that we got to know through the MCU who changed, who had life-changing experiences with his brother. This is a altogether completely different Loki. And I was not a huge fan of Loki season 1. Loki season 2 continues that story and leans heavily into the character of Kang. Let's start with we'll go through the episodes. We've seen the first 4 episodes.
4 of the 6. 4 of the 6.
4 of the 6. The first 2 kind of connect, and then the second 2, 3 and 4, kind of connect, a continuation. Alan, tell us about Loki season 2, and if you want to delineate between the major events from 1, 2, and 3, you can do that. You had access longer than I had.
Yeah, so we're back at the TVA. Kang died, and it caused Loki killed Kang, and it caused the sacred timeline to begin splitting into all these realities and multiverses. And now it's got to be stopped. It's just getting out of control. And so what the TVA has decided to do is they're just going to start cutting off branches of these realities and hopefully cut them all off so that only the sacred timeline remains. And what we've learned is that the people who run the TVA, they're essentially picked out of these timelines, kidnapped, so to speak, and then their minds erased. And so there's a couple things going on here. There are people now trying to save the TVA who realize that they had lives before this and they don't know anything about it and they want to go back to those lives. The other thing is there's Kang, who is in play here. We've teased that he's this great, he's the next Thanos. But in episode 3 and 4, we find out basically episode 3 and 4 is the origin of Kang, and how he is ultimately groomed into.
Well, let me correct you. It's the origin of a Kang.
Yes, but I believe. Kang. Yeah. Okay.
That fair, right? Fair.
Yeah, it's fair, but I think it's a little more than that.
Okay.
And so ultimately what happens is we have these small factions. There's Loki and Mobius. He's the good guy. So he's the one with the more altruistic, end to this to bring things back to order. And then there's the side characters. You called her body positive, whatever.
No, Gary calls her that. Gary calls her that. I don't know the name of the character.
Yeah, I forget the name of the character. Then there's Ravina and Ms. Minutes who have their own plans for Kang. And so it plays around basically with time, and it sounds confusing, and it's hard to explain, but I don't know if you want to get into how we feel about it right now, but
Yeah, we can get into it. So
Mhm.
that's look, basically the TVA is being
Body
taken
positive
over.
time cop. That's what Gary called it.
Yeah, body positive time cop. Um, there's a scene where because of these, we need to talk about Kihei Kwan's character
Yeah,
and then the actual name of that character. He looks at this big screen where these sort of what do they call them? Threads, vines, like
yeah,
these
branches.
branches. These branches are disappearing. The branches are other timelines, and she's looking at them going, all of those lives going away. But they're literally looking at a screen, and she delivers the line with it just doesn't, it's not great.
Yeah, as if they were mini holocausts happening, uh, mini genocides going on.
Yeah, yeah. So it just she's reacting to that, and it's so weightless. Am I wrong? Did it just feel like it didn't mean anything to you?
Yeah,
Like,
definitely when it was happening, I felt that way. Is like, yeah, they're telling us, they're not showing us.
yes, yeah, it's not, if they had shown some of this, if they went to some of these other galaxies and showed them collapsing, or at least a vision of that,
Mhm.
of apocalypse coming to all these other worlds, and it meant something, maybe even seeing characters that we're familiar with that couldn't save their universe because of this event. That would have been interesting. But
Yeah,
the way they're telling the story is it's just all on a bunch of sets, including this terrible set where they go to the 1800s where Mr. what's his name? They call Kang in this.
oh, I
Uh
forget.
it's Mr. Timely.
Yeah, that's it. Timely.
Timely. They call him Timely, Mr. Timely. And he's created this energy invention machine that creates energy, which then you find out immediately that he's a shyster. He's a con man. He's created a show. So he's not a real scientist. He's a fake scientist that does this, puts on this whole act as a way to cheat people out of money and get these rich men to buy the rights to a so-called machine he invented, except he actually didn't invent anything. It's all BS. It's all BS. So uh I don't think that this is the Kang that will end up being a Kang later. Because, and we're gonna get into spoilers. I'm sorry. It's we're gonna get into spoilers. In they somehow need the essence of Kang to be able to use a device that will end this coming cataclysm. Is that a
Yeah.
good
I
interpretation?
I understood it as kind of like one of those DNA keys where
Right,
you
a
need the
DNA
actual
key,
person
please.
to unlock or turn on a switch. That was the way I interpreted it.
So they go back and get this Loki from, excuse me, Loki and
Mobius.
Mobius go back to to the 1800s. They find another version of Kang, which is this Mr. Timely inventor who's basically a con man and a shyster, ripping people off for money. He's not a real scientist. Or it's weird. They're not really clear because then he's talking to Kihei Kwan's character, and Kihei Kwan, they're like fans of each other. At least they're faking,
Mhm.
right? So uh I just so in any case, and Kihei Kwan, I actually like him. I really like Tom Hiddleston. He's the thing that
Mhm.
kept me watching the show was Tom Hiddleston. Um, he's just very good, even when the event seems so weak. Again, this is another case of the script is weak. The script is incredibly weak.
Yeah,
And
so
I don't even know.
this is where you and I are going to start diverging in a
Okay, okay. What's
yeah.
your okay? Go
Okay.
ahead. Go
So
ahead.
so let me state this, and I think you'll agree with me, but in a weird way. Season Loki season 2 is the best Marvel Disney Plus show out there.
It's not saying much.
It's not saying much, but would you say it's true?
Yeah.
It was with Captain America and Winter
No.
Soldier.
I'll say this. I'm not going to say it's best or worst because I really have to think about that. I'm saying it's the most watchable because of the lead character, and I actually am invested in his story, except I don't know what Loki wants except to not die. That is what Loki wants. Loki wants to not die and not exist. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. It's branching. That's what
Right.
these are called. Okay. So yeah, I think this is the best Marvel Disney show there is right now. And I can't think of one that's better than this. And I'll tell you some of the positives of it. The writing is better in terms of dialogue for the most part. I think I would give you this piece of advice when watching Loki season 2: binge it. Wait for all 6 episodes to come out. Watch it all at one time, because the first 2 episodes are basically set up. It establishes the rules of time travel in this world. It goes into the branching. It goes into the stakes that the employees of the TVA have, and it gives us some interesting thoughts in terms of people who want to live a normal life or want to go back but don't know where they came from. It establishes some really interesting ideas, some good strong storytelling. And so it establishes these rules about time travel in the first 2 episodes, and then those rules are now in play in the next 2 episodes where I'll call it the origin of Kang here. Whether it's the real Kang or not, that's essentially what's happening here, is that there's a fight over this man who will one day become Kang, and who controls that man. And that's kind of the second half, or the next 2 episodes, because now a civil war is about to erupt in the TVA. And I just found it interesting, and I kind of, I'll say it again. I would prefer to binge this rather than wait week after week to watch it, because I think you'll lose interest in those first 2 episodes, or there's a danger of that. And then the second thing is you kind of wish they just pull the Marvel thing out and just say this is a story, and not connect it to the Marvel universe whatsoever. Because I think it's a more compelling story when you're not sitting there wondering, well, what's Loki doing here? Why is Loki good? What are his powers? When you remove that, it becomes a much more interesting science fiction story. And I think by removing anything Marvel from it, you are no longer tied to it, and you can tell. I think the story would have been more freer in that way. And then the last good thing I'll say about this is I don't sense an agenda at all.
Yes, that's okay. On the positive side, I don't sense that there's much agenda.
Yeah,
that
like there's no gender message. There's no racial message. There's a use of a word that President Biden used, referring to Ice Cube. That's used, but it's used in a way that integrates within the story, but not in a racial way.
Are you talking about boy?
Yeah, the boy word. That's right. And it's just interesting where it happens, and in context with the Mr. Timely character, and because there's a status play at work there, which is in the story. So in terms of, is it woke at the moment at episode 4, it doesn't feel woke at all. LL Cool J. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, LL Cool J.
So again, I will say this is the best Disney Marvel story. Disney has not done any favors with all the shows in the past in terms of whether you're going to like it or not. I think they have to own the fact that people are soured toward it. And this is time travel is not an accessible story for the masses. And so it's going to have problems. But from me watching the 4 episodes, I found myself engaged in it, and I genuinely do want to see the last 2 episodes and see how this plays out.
Well, we're going to see them on November 2nd and November 9th are when episode 5 and 6 come out. But for now, you and I have seen the episode. I think what we'll do is we'll do a wrap up of the series. Yeah. I mean, first of all, also, and this is going to sound like first world problems. When we watch the show, my email address is this big on the screen, and it's incredibly distracting. And I also like to watch the shows with subtitles on, because sometimes you get more information, like an insignificant character. You'll actually know what the character's name is, because sometimes they show the name of the person talking or whatever. So especially when I'm covering something, I'll watch it with the closed captioning on. I wasn't able to do that, and my name was this big on it. It's so annoying. So
I know.
so we'll do a wrap up of Loki on November, like around November 9th ish, after that final episode airs. I just don't know. Here's my prediction. People are not going to care all that much. You're not going to see people doing weekly analysis of every episode because, frankly, there's not a lot to talk about. I found the first episode very boring. They kind of lean into the mundane nature of the show. They go to this room and they do this multiple times in the show. They'll go to this room, and I like Owen Wilson, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like him quite a bit. I think he's very good. And his character, Mobius, like they go to this, it's Mobius, not Morbius. And Jonathan Majors he's not listed as Kang in the show. He's listed as He Who Remains.
That's right.
Yeah, Kie Kwan's character is Ouroboros.
Oh, I gotta say something about
Ouroboros.
So we meet Kiwi Kwan early on in the first episode, and there's this thing called the time loom, right?
Yes.
So my Asian brain, every time I hear Kiwi Kwan say time loom, I'm hearing time room. And I'm going, oh, so they're going to a time room, but it's actually the time loom.
Are you saying that he has an accent that makes him pronounce his L's like
I'm
R's?
saying whenever I talk to my family members with heavy accents, we it's we got the RL thing going on. True story, but my grandmother, when I got married, my wife's name is Lori. She wouldn't one day my wife called my grandmother and said, "Hi, this is Lori," and then my grandmother would hang up. She didn't understand why my grandmother kept hanging up on her until my mom told her, "Oh, you need to say you're Rory." And so she did that. She calls my grandmother, it's Rory, and then my grandmother goes, "Oh, hi, Rory, how are you?" You know.
Well,
I mean,
let's talk about
whenever he says time loom, I'm hearing time room. And
well, let's talk about what are your final thoughts on Loki?
Loki is Rovery. It's it's not for everybody. It's very sci-fi. I kind of wish I kind of wish Marvel was better at this stage and maybe people would enjoy it more. But I will say I am, for all its problems, I'm engaged with it, and I will see it to the end.
Okay, all right. I will also see it to the end. I mean, I've invested in the 4 episodes, but I my only reason for caring is, does this tie in somehow with the future of Marvel? I think it does, except I care less and less about the future of Marvel. There's too much homework to know everything that's going on. And the fact that, and look, we're going to talk spoilers right now. So anyone who cares about spoilers for season 2 of Loki, or Roki, as Alan's grandmother would say.
Rookie Kuroka.
Yeah.
Okay.
Roki season
Roki.
2. I mean, they sort of paint them in a corner with this whole thing, and I just have never gotten a sense. This is both season 1 and 2. Loki's being kind of tortured through all of this. What is his goal? I still am, it's undefined and unclear, other than to not die and to not exist. Is he supposed to learn a lesson? Like that he's an a-hole? I feel like we've seen that Loki arc already.
Yeah, I will agree with you. I think if they don't answer that question by the end, that will say a lot about the future of Marvel and this series specifically. So yeah, I mean, he's the good guy. He's the one we're following. We are living the series through his shoes, through his eyes. And so, I think that's an important question to ask at this moment. And there's not an answer at the moment.
Look, this show, there's one reason to watch this show. Tom Hiddleston. That's it. he is the reason. And I look, I actually really like Owen Wilson, liked him in many things. But they even try to push this buddy nature between Mobius and Loki that doesn't work for me. There's a whole scene where they have this discussion and they're going up a spiral staircase. They go to a room and they're walking together and they're like, are you following me? I was following you. No, you were following me. You're taking the lead. Well, I'm sorry. I don't need to. Like, they start apologizing to each other. And I'm like, no man has ever had a conversation that's like this.
Yeah,
like,
but I think
to myself, like, it was the dumbest. I'm like, what are they even talking about?
But I think they're, but they're, I think they know that, and I think they've commented on it. Like the whole scene of, him not wanting to see. Now we're getting the spoilers. The question of whether he wants to know where he came from, and the fact that he doesn't. I mean, I think that says a lot about that conversation, that interaction. Right. And again, we're at season. I said this about She-Hulk. Not knowing how it would end. I'm at episode 4. They've screwed me once. They could screw me again. So, I want to think that this is heading in the right direction. But I don't have a lot of confidence that they will, but who knows? They just might. And so I come to this series much more cautiously than I did with She-Hulk.
Yeah, look, Tom Hiddleston's the reason to watch this show because I think we like him. I'd like to see him play another character. But ultimately, for a show about time, I feel like this is kind of a waste of time because the show being real, not using that even as a joke, the show seems to just be going nowhere, like running in place. That's what I feel the show is to me. We're not getting to a destination. We're running in place with a new problem introduced in each episode. And then that problem is sort of quickly resolved with just plot convenience.
Let's see, I don't agree with you there. I think when you get into the conflicts that occurs in episodes 3 and 4, I think there's a definite conflict there. I think there's a definite direction that this story is going. And it's interesting to see that I would never have guessed it was that the conflict that happens, it happens between certain characters.
Right.
And then the one who shall not be named or whatever, the one who remains.
The one who remains.
Yeah, that his role in it is interesting to me. Regarding that character, Jonathan Majors makes an interesting choice in the way he portrays his character. I think from what I heard you talk about on the Nooner, you didn't like it. I'm tolerant of it, and we'll see. And again, they'll probably screw me in episode 6, so we'll see. But it's an interesting choice, not one that I'm particularly fond of, but there you go.
Well, does it eventually lead to an Avengers movie? And even if it does, would we care? Because it's not going to be the Avengers we're familiar with.
Well,
it's going to be the Avengers. The Avengers going to be the Eternals, Shang-Chi, Captain Marvel, Ms. Marvel, Photon. Like, who are even the Avengers now? Is the Hulk in the Avengers? I don't know. Is She-Hulk in the Avengers? I don't know what this is, but they throw this out every time they introduce a new character. It's your new favorite Avenger. Well, I need to pay attention because I'm a fan of the Avengers. And you've seen when you look at the box office for all the Marvel movies, go and look up the top box office for all the Marvel movies. All the Avengers movies are bumps. So you get you get like Iron Man, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, fine. Thor 2, Thor, whatever. But like whenever there's an Avengers movie, a bump because it's all those characters in one movie or more than a few of those characters. Okay. So
well, this is where I predict this series is going to end. It's the birth of Kang. We get an indication of what the threat is. If we don't, then I don't see where Marvel is headed.
Well, just to be clear, it's going to be the birth of the Kang that will be the main antagonist of movies going forward.
Yes,
of the films.
That's where I hope this ends.
So this is kind of the origin story in a way.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, if they don't, then Marvel is lost.
Well, that's disappointing. I don't know. It
Yeah.
just it is.
I mean,
what
because
it is.
otherwise, what's the point of the series?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, we'll see. We have to wait 6 weeks.
All right. Well, let's go to your comments and questions here about this. Here we go. All right. Just going to go through starting with the super chat here. Do you have to watch Loki season 1 to watch season 2? Says Sean Hu for 742. Here's
think so.
what there is on the Marvel YouTube channel, there is a synopsis, and actually technically you don't. As long as you know that this is the Loki, if you've seen Endgame, you know that Loki disappeared. And
a variant Loki.
A variant Loki disappeared. And that's who this Loki is. This isn't the Loki from the movies. It's the Loki from 5 minutes after the first Avengers movie. Does that make sense? So, and there is a wrap-up video, like a 5-minute catch you up where you can just watch, you can get what happened in season 1. The important episode to watch of season 1 is the last episode. Just watch the last episode.
In fact, the last half of the last episode.
Yeah. The last half of the last episode is significant, but you can also watch one of those catch-up videos.
I will say I'm less lost in season 2 than I was in season 1.
Yeah. Spidey Sensei, and thank you for that, Sean Hu. Spidey Sensei 72 says, is this the version where he's wearing the Frederick Douglass afro? Yes. This is Mr. Timely, and he has that Frederick Douglass kind of messed up afro. Look, it actually looks cool.
Yeah, this is definitely the scene you saw at the end of Ant-Man Quantumania. That scene appears in the 3rd episode.
It's literally the same scene.
Yeah.
They do a clip from that scene at the end of Ant-Man 3, and that's the 3rd episode, effectively. The 3rd episode of Loki season 2 is directly from that Ant-Man season, Ant-Man part 3.
Scene. Yeah.
Correct. It was the final credit.
End credit.
Is it final credit or
it was final credit? It
was after all the credits.
Yeah, because I think the end credit scene was the
mid-credit scene was all the Kangs in the Coliseum.
Yeah, and then it was Ant-Man kind of reflecting on everything, and then it gets really dark, and then it's the lead into Loki season 2.
Great. Thank you, Spidey Sensei. Jin Freaks says the one who breaks teenage girl fights. Wait, what? I don't know what is that a reference to?
That's Jonathan Majors.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I thought that was stupid. Virtual Reality Fitness says Loki season 1 is the best Disney Plus show. I would add a question mark on the end.
I know.
Or is it? That's what he's saying. I mean,
what's better? That's the question, is what's better?
Yeah, well, here's the bar. And then, what's better? No, seriously. There's a lot of those shows I didn't even watch.
I think Falcon and Captain America. I'm sorry, Falcon and
the Winter Soldier.
And WandaVision. I think those are the next 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. WandaVision was right off the heels of everything. And WandaVision, I thought it was the first Disney Plus show. I thought it was clever. The first 3 episodes, and then it got kind of ridiculous and off the rails. And once we started learning what was really going on, it was weird. It was, and not weird in a good way. Weird in a good way was the first 3 episodes. And then when it kind of went through eras of sitcoms, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was their take on House of M.
Yeah. Yeah. Rumble comment here. Bemo Beta, sub supporter. Thanks, Alan. I was actually planning on waiting to watch it all at once. Now I will for sure. I can't imagine what this show will be like watching it week to week.
I think the drop off will be significant.
The drop off will be huge because the first 2 episodes are not very strong. It doesn't get going until episode 3. It's a shame. I'm fond of Tom Hiddleston, but I'm not wasting my time watching Loki, says Flav, who's also a member.
Tom is good in this. Let's just.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. The Spidey Sensei 72 says the Kevin versus Olivia fight at the end of Attack of the Dock was choreographed better than Rosario's fight scenes. That's great. That's awesome.
Oh, I like that scene.
Cool. Well, look, we will cover this. I promise you we will do a reaction to the whole season after it's over. But feel free to catch up, and we may check in if you're interested. We'll do that. But our special guest is now waiting in the wings here. Let's see. Alan, did you do the prep?
Should be there.
There we are. That's great. Let me do a quick pivot here. We're going to do a quick pivot. There's our pivot. And let us introduce, and she is going to correct me on the pronunciation of her name. Signe Baumane. Signe, hey, it's Chris. Good to see you.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Hey, can you just, what's the correct pronunciation of your name so I don't butcher it?
Oh, it should be a mystery. Only my mother knows. No, I'm kidding. Signe Baumane is good.
Signe Baumane. Signe, congratulations on the film. It's My Love Affair with Marriage, which is a feature-length animated film. You are an animator. I'm familiar with your short film work on the festival circuit. This is an incredible achievement. I'm such a big fan of independent animation. This is not a Disney movie. For sure is not a Disney movie, but tell us about the story of My Love Affair with Marriage.
Well, it's a story of Zelma. More than anything, she wants love, and it's just like a strong desire in her because she believes that when she will achieve love, she would be a complete person. And so she goes on this journey to find the true and only love, and all along the way, all the adventures and suffering and self-discovery. So yeah, it's a long quest.
And how did you get your start in animation? I know you've done a lot of short films that have been on the festival circuit and won awards, and building up to doing an independent. First of all, it's hard enough to do an animated short film, but an animated feature, I cannot even imagine. But can you tell us your journey of like your shorts, and then like even the prospect of, I think I'm going to make a feature-length animated film?
Yeah, I think that you have to be crazy, like you have to be insane and you have to be delusional when you embark on the journey of making independent animated feature film. And I'm all these things about. I'm crazy, delusional, and nuts. But the film took 7 years to make. Actually, if I could take you around, I'm in my studio right now.
Oh, cool. Yeah, let's see.
And,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So here you can see a set. This plant, is like trying to reach to my. You see, it's trying to reach to my sets. But this is a set, cool. Right? And it's the plant is trying to grow into the set. And here you can see there are little faces on the trees. And this mountain, it's called Counts. It's in Riga. It's based on a mount in Riga. It's made entirely of paper. There's like nothing but paper and glue in it. And here is another set, my favorite set actually, if you can see. Zelma and Bo. You see the size. Yeah, they
oh my God.
They fall in love with each other and have sex day and night. Well, that's what you do when you're in love, and you should do that. And here's a corner of my partner Sturgis, where he builds, cuts out. We pick up pieces of wood out of garbage in the neighborhood from the bins of the cabinet makers, and so then he comes here and then he cuts them up And so here you can see the set from behind. These are the sets, the pieces of wood that he pulled out of garbage. And then when we go around, you see it's a church.
Wow.
Yeah,
that is incredible. What? So, I mean, where are you? Like, you're in your studio, but where are you? And what?
Oh, look outside the window. I'm in Brooklyn.
You're in Brooklyn. Oh, wow. Okay, great. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah,
awesome.
This is one of my sculptures. I'm still working.
So the animation style is a little different. It's in a way kind of mixed media, in a sense of like part stop motion, part 2D. Can you talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, it's I'm interested in adding cinematic language to 2D animation. I like the parallax, like zooms and pans. I like a lot of things that are like in a hand-drawn animation you cannot do. So that's why I decided to create three-dimensional sets, photograph them, and add that language, of like shifting focus, drawing audience attention. And it's kind of seems more natural than if you did it in 2D. And then once I photograph these sets, I put in, I print them out, and and then I do drawings on paper. So this is a drawing, one of the drawings that I could show you. And so then we scan the drawings, we put them in Photoshop, color them, and then assemble together with the photographs and make it look seamless. So it's a very elaborate process. No wonder it took 7 years to make.
But a labor of love. This is not, you're not doing this with the financing of a big, multinational corporation, right? So
yeah,
it's a more personal vision.
Yeah, I think that for me, the idea is like, everybody now talks about, content and product, right? And I'm like, I'm making films. So I'm not making content. For me, my film is a singular vision of a singular person. And I think that the artistic work and artistic vision of one person, we still need this kind of work, because it really, I believe that this kind of films enhance our critical thinking, our empathy, it grows our patience and intelligence overall. And so but yes, you cannot like sit down and watch my film after long day of work, and you sit down, you want to zone out of reality. My film is a fantasy, but it is an emotional arc. You're going to be taken on a journey and feeling things a certain way and thinking about it once it's over.
We've got over 750 people watching us live on YouTube. I've got a bunch of questions from our chat. Would you like to take some of these questions?
I would love that. Yes.
Here we go. Solomon Thornton asks, greetings, Madam Signe. I have always been a fan of anime and animation. What was your approach for doing this film?
That's a very good question. What was my approach? Like I was, I guess I was driven by the story. That's where that was the entryway, if that's the question. I really wanted to tell the story of my second marriage, which was very dramatic and very kind of like a mystery, a secret, and all that. So that was the entryway into it. But then, of course, the approach was like also technical. I wanted to do these three-dimensional sets. I wanted to have cinematic language in it. And I wanted to expand. My previous film, Rocks in My Pockets, did a little bit of the background, like the same similar technique. But we wanted to make it more and more ambitious. And also, I really wanted to work with actors, and we have some of the best actors in the world, like Matthew Modine, like Mara Dominchuk from Succession, and Stephen Lang from Avatar, and Cameron Monaghan from Shameless. So we have like really amazing actors, and they did amazing work on the film. So, but what was my approach? I don't know if I answered that question.
I think you answered it really well. A comment here, Davina Duckworth, paper mache?
Yes, it's all paper mache. It's a wood paper mache and coats and coats of paint.
Right.
So the paper mache, I guess we don't do the flour thing because the rats really like to eat paper mache that has flour mixed in. So we do metal and glue, and so that works very well.
Greasy Guido said, did you have a lot of input on the music, or did you fully trust the composer?
I work with Christian Sensini. I worked with him on my previous film, and when I started to work with him on my previous film, I had bad experiences with composers, and I was so distrustful of him at all. I was like, you have to prove yourself if you want to do work on this film. So I asked him to do 3 samples of this one scene, and he did like 3 samples, and one was better than the other. So we built the trust on working on the first film. So I was like, well, I found a trusted member of my team, and he's a collaborator. Like his work is going to make or break my film. That music is so important, and so very often I would just give him ideas and inspirational pieces of music, and then he would take off and come back with something so spectacular I could not even imagine. And so it was, I trusted him, but of course, he had to see my vision. He had to understand my vision. Like, for example, end credit song sung by Storm Large. I don't know if you know her. She's amazing. He rejected my lyrics like 5 times. He said, I don't know, this is crap. I cannot write music to this. And so I had to do better. So I was just like, okay, this is really hard, but I have to do better lyrics. So when I wrote finally the final lyrics, he instantly, in 6 hours, he sent me the song, and it was perfect. So
Darren Hughes asked, Ms. Baumane, it must be very different, but how is it different directing animation versus directing people?
I don't really direct people, meaning I never directed live action, but I did have to direct 30 actors and singers when we were recording. And I have to say, I'm an animator. I am, you maybe not notice, but I am introvert, right? I just really want to be left alone. I just want to do my drawings and I don't want to talk to people really. And so when I come and I have to work with actors, I get so stressed. It's like, because I know they also so much depends on how I communicate my idea. And so, but in our case, with the 30 spectacular actors, it was just like, they're so professional, so they're so amazing, so talented. It was like they were guiding me, rather than me telling them. Of course, I had to direct them a little bit, but no. But yeah, I'd say if I had to choose to direct actors or to sit at home and draw, I would prefer to draw.
A question that's a good jumping off point from that. Zodlander asks, how much of yourself is in the film, and how did you choose the actors for the voices?
That's a very good question. Yeah, that's a very good question. A lot of people, when they watch the film, they think, oh, it's you, it's so you. And I'm like, no, there's a big difference between me and Zelma, the main character, because I hate cats. And Zelma, and Zelma just is like crazy about cats. And so the cat is like so very important animal for her. And I prefer dogs, actually. So that's a big difference. But I think that as an artist, whatever you do, you're gonna put yourself in. Like it's like it's like everything you do is informed by the life you lived before, and so that is, I don't know how many percentage. If I had to say percentage, how much it is me, I don't know. It's hard to say. But what was the other part of the question? Sorry.
Oh, just dealing with actors and whatnot. So
no, there's another part of the question.
Just
how did we find voices?
The voices. How'd you find the voice actors?
So my partner Sturgis Warner, he is also my life partner, but he also is the partner and producer of the film, and he was also casting director, and he knows the best because he's a theater actor and director, so he knows all the best New York actors that there are, right? And so he approached them, and I trusted him implicitly. I was like, you're really good at casting. I don't understand anything. And he really got it. But the main character, Zelma, who eventually ended to be played by Dagmara Dominček. I just, like, every proposal that he gave me, I would refuse, because I was like, Zelma is the center. She's the heart and soul. She is me, right? So how do I pick the right actors for this? And so then he found there's a video, a tiny video on YouTube, on this wealth of information of Dagmara reading pages from her book that she wrote, A Lullaby for Polish Girls. She's Polish American, which is very interesting also, because she understands me being Latvian and the story being in Latvia and understanding that world. And so, but when I heard her read this book, it was just like, she transported me, you know, with just her voice. And I was like, that's it. She's our Zelma. We don't look anymore. Of course, it was hard to contact her, you know, because actors are, you go through agents and agents don't get back to you. But, you know, we managed.
Question from Razorburn. Signe, would you make an animated movie with Lego pieces?
But there is already a movie like that. It is a really great movie. Why would I make a movie that already exists?
True.
But I would not be against it. Yes.
The Sound of One Man Laughing. Over the years, is there a problem from your ideas about the movie changing? I guess when you work on something for 7 years, you may have different ideas than the vision you started with.
Oh my God, I love this question. And I have to tell you my deepest secret. Don't tell anybody. But I don't work with storyboards. And that's my secret of you know, like, you know, when people like they do animation, you're supposed to do storyboards and you have to like stick to them, and that's like money saver and blah blah blah, you know. And I'm like, if I do storyboards, I would be dead. I cannot start a film that has a storyboard, because I want to be inspired every moment, every day. I want to come to the studio and say, oh, I don't know how to do this scene. I'm like so excited. Or I go to a movie and I see like a director tried something new with the camera, and I'm like, I would like to try that in my film, you know? And so I do, but I do have a blueprint. I have like a voice track, which is recorded before. Like, we don't start film production unless we have recorded a track of dialogues, and that I'm very, very faithful to. But every scene, I come in the morning and I say, there is the scene, and this is a new thing. I don't know how to do it, and we are going to make it work the best we can. And it's like nerve-wracking, exciting, you know, that but when you have a storyboard, you already know angles. And imagine if I did the storyboard 7 years before the film was done. For 7 years, I changed as an artist, and I could not change the storyboard, and I cannot do anything about visuals. I would be like mad. You would have to lock me in a mental hospital because I could not go on with this. I don't know, it would be depressing.
And final question from actually two people kind of have the same question. Kara asks, congratulations on making the film. Will it be shown internationally? We have a lot of international viewers who watch the show. And JTPRX says, where can we see your film?
Oh my God, I love these questions. My favorite questions. So the film premiered last year at Tribeca, you know, and it went since then to 100 film festivals all over the world. It has been, I don't even know where it hasn't been, on every continent. So you can go on a website, myloveaffairwithmarriage.com, and there is a screening page, like myloveaffairwithmarriage.com/screenings, and then you can see where the film has been and where it's going to play. It's going to play in Paris at the Science Film Festival in Paris. It's going to play now in Luxembourg very soon. And also it's going to play in, very excellent. Yeah, if you go on a screenings page. And it's going to play in Indonesia tomorrow morning. I'm doing at 7 in the morning. I'm doing Q&A in Indonesia.
And here it is, all the screenings. We'll share this link in the description here. It says My Love Affair with Marriage movie.com, and all the information on, hey, it's coming next weekend to the Lemley in Glendale.
Yes, we are
That's great.
We're opening in New York at Quad Cinema on Friday, on October 6th, and then we are going to LA, and I'm going to be in LA, and I will give away these drawings. You know, these drawings that you just saw.
Look at
each screening, I give away a drawing. If you get my quiz, if you answer correctly to my quiz, you get a drawing. So get ready.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh, this is awesome. Well, now I know what I'm doing. This is great. The Glendale Theater is very close to me.
Oh, excellent. I'm so excited.
That's cool.
You're a legend. I'm like, I would be like, my knees are going to be weak.
No, stop it. Well, haven't we met before? I swear we've met at a film festival.
Probably. Yeah, I think so. But it was a long time ago.
At Florida, at the Florida Film
Festival. That's right. Yes.
That's where I met you. Because when your name popped up, I was like, oh my gosh, she made a feature. This is amazing. So I love animation.
Can I give you a short pitch for the film?
Please.
So I made a lot of short films about sex, because sex is an interesting subject. And then I made one feature film before about depression, because that's an interesting subject too. In my new film, I combined the two, sex and depression. So I made film about marriage. So,
well, you're speaking Alan's language.
You have no idea.
Well, I'll see you in Glendale. I'll get tickets to the show.
Oh, excellent.
That's awesome. Oh, that's great. Well, congratulations, Signe. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you. It is really true honor.
Well, thanks. The honor's mine. I love the fact that you're so dedicated, 7 years of your life to make this sort of kind of like a little bit of like 3D, like the stop motion backgrounds, and with the 2D and combining that. It's awesome. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for the cool questions, audience. I love you guys.
All right. Take care. Thanks again.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Later. Bye. She was great. That was great. That was so good.
That's love great. I'm definitely interested in seeing this.
Yeah, no, for sure. I just love an animated film that isn't a Pixar movie or a Disney movie.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was mixed media too. I thought it was
just it was because I've seen her films before. I've met her in I think it was the late 90s at the Florida Film Festival, or maybe early 2000s. So that's great. So cool. I already got the website. I'm just gonna pick up tickets. I like to see a movie. I'm going to the movies tonight, which is why I'm wrapping up the show early. Well, it's not early.
What are you seeing tonight?
I am going to see The Witch because I never saw it in. Robert Eggers' The Witch is back in theaters. I never saw it in a theater, so I saw it but I saw it on television. I saw it on digital, so I want to see it on the big screen. So I'm going, and the screening is like 100% full.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, I'm thinking tomorrow I might try the Paw Patrol Exorcist double feature.
Well, I've seen The Exorcist. We'll talk about it. So Friday, just so you know, Friday's show, we're talking Exorcist Believer. We're going to check Jigsaw's email. I promise we'll do that. And that is so, I've been getting email messages of people trying to reach. And it's so many, I had to create a vacation setting. So if you email, you get a bounce back. So you just get a vacation message. So we will go through all of that on Friday. Exorcist Believer. You're going to talk about Paw Patrol. There's couple other movies that we'll be
I've seen Foe. That'll be an interesting discussion.
I have not seen Foe. Lots to talk about, plus your comments and questions. Last super chat here from Nostradamus for 5 says the Force is female and apparently is on its period. Well, there you go. There you are.
What does that mean?
Nostradamus. There you go. Thank you, Nostradamus. We appreciate it. And thank you to our mods today, Lord Thoth, Latino Slant, Ms. P. Coffee, our producer, Glenn Brown. And you know what? And my partner in crime, Alan Ng. I'm going to thank Ng the Merciless.
I know. Now I got to change my profile picture.
You got to change your profile picture to Ng the Merciless. Please do it.
Ingtopia is not quite doing it for me, I guess.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Just do Ng the Merciless. People will know who you are. Okay. So, Alan, anything else? It's going to be a big show on Friday. Do not miss it. It's we're gonna have fun. Exorcist Believer. I hope you have time to see it because I want to talk about the religious aspects.
Yeah. I mean, is it scary like the first one or
Can I just say no?
Okay. Then
It might even be, you could probably even take your daughter to it.
She won't go.
Well, look, it's just I don't want to give up what I'm going to talk about on Friday. Save it for Friday, but I need a religious perspective on it.
Okay.
So yeah. So there you go. Thank you, everybody. I had a great time. I always have a great time with this. It's great.
And I have a new movie I want to see. So
a new movie you got to see. All right. Well, there you go. Yeah. Let's get tickets together.
Oh, I found out I have the screener. So
well, even better.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I'm not traveling. I'm not going to travel to Glendale.
We have a review of the film on the website. Make sure we get a review.
Oh, it's there. It's there. We posted it in the chat.
Yeah. All right. Cool. The review. We'll post it on the clip. All right, Alan.
Let's get out of here.